morning, everybody. It's a really gorgeous day out here. It's in the low 60s right now, and I would have my windows open if my smart speaker didn't tell me that it was 91% humidity out there right now. That's a little much. Well, it was either Wednesday or Friday. I had a conversation with my smart speaker. I was like, "What's the temperature outside?" And it said, "The temperature outside is 60." And then, of course, I asked, what's the humidity? The humidity is 95%. And I'm like, that's a little much. I don't want it that moist in the house. So, yeah, it's another one of those, it is what it is. And, yeah, craziness. But, that's the problem with, living in the South. It gets to have some humidity. Thankfully, we didn't get anything from Milton up here. My friends and family down in Florida are all safe and everything else. A friend of mine's grandparents lost everything because they have a ground floor condo. So I feel really bad for them. But, you know, it could have been worse. Like, there could have been other things happening. So I'm just thankful for them. Did I see what else? Yesterday I got something long armed. Finally on my long arm again. It was the As the Crow Flies quilt. I think I picked the wrong color thread. I mean, it's both perfect and wrong at the same time. But after I got through the entire row, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. It works, and then I pulled it off, and the backing is sideways. And I'm like, nobody's going to notice but me. It's a square quilt, so everybody will be fine. So, let's see, who do we have in here? Steven is here. I'm a little confused. He said he's up to his ears in cooking for tomorrow, but I thought you didn't cook unless it was craft dinner. Um, I could be wrong sometimes. I mean, I freely admit it. So I'm excited for you to have your Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. I've seen your place settings and everything. They look awesome. Good morning, Candace. And good morning, Melissa. Hello, Tessa. Tessa House in the house. Yes, Melissa. Ew, the M word. Good morning, Robert. I also need to tell everybody um, I am potentially making a minor risk for y'all. I have a FedEx delivery coming today, and it could be the super hot FedEx guy. And if I miss him, then every single one of the people watching is going to have to send me something via FedEx with, signature required. Just so I can make sure I see him. He is a lot of adorbs. I saw him a few weeks ago during Sewing with Stephen and Stephanie and Stephen, whichever order they want to be in. And I was like, good golly, I missed him. And I pulled up my doorbell camera. I was like, good golly, he's hot. And then I think it was sometime last week, I was heading back from running an errand, and he was in the neighborhood, and he wasn't wearing his FedEx uniform. And I'm like, okay, you in that shirt? Can we come home? I know I'm bad. So hopefully I don't miss him. I think when I'm done with here, I'm just going to go sit on the front porch for a couple hours until he arrives. Yes, Stephen, he did look a little young, but everybody looks the same with a bag over their face. I don't know what that phrase is. And Stephen also says he's serving Katie for Thanksgiving. Awesome. Good morning, Jen. So today, I have decided that I'm going to continue working on rock candy. It is a Stephanie Stitches pattern. I in previous lives I got the 9 patches done on the first live, and then I got the hourglass blocks done on the second live, and now it's putting everything together. So, for an example, this is one of the 9 patches, and this is the hourglass block. So now it is putting these into rows and then putting the rows together and then figuring out what my borders are. I have the borders out. I just have to make sure I have what I want for borders. I did do a few rows already. I will show that before the live is over. Hopefully I can get a couple of these rows put together and maybe sew these rows together onto the other piece that I have done. So the next set of rows that I'm doing has the hourglasses going. Oh, it would help if I pointed the right camera. There we go. It has the hourglasses pointing sideways with the darks sideways, the lights up and down, which, depending on which sands you decide are going through the hourglass, that could be sideways, that could be up and down. Good morning, Jeannie. So I'm just going to begin. And the way that I have been doing these rows is I will take an hourglass block and a 9 patch. And I found that I have had just that little bit more luck because for some reason my 9 patches are a thread or two off from my hourglass block. So I'm having just that little bit of extra luck by putting the hourglass block on the bottom. And just sewing these together like this. Good morning, Patricia. How you doing today? As I said earlier, it's gorgeous out here. I'm not going to even think about any thought of complaint. The temperature, this is the perfect temperature for mornings, in my opinion. And if we could keep it like this all year round, I would be happy. If we could drop the humidity word. Good morning, Terry. Good afternoon, Nikki. The rest of my week, if you saw my vlog, I was in a little bit of an accident on Monday. So silly, so stupid. Uh, Anytime I've said to conversation with somebody that I was in an accident, their first reaction is always, because people are nice, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You see, I'm still driving the car. And then they ask for the details, and I'm like, "I was backed into on 14th Street." And just the blank look that everybody gives, like, how were you backed into there? There's no even semi-logical reason to be backed into in that portion of the city. And I tell them the whole story, and they're like, "Yeah, stupidity. You can't fix some things." If you want the full story, go watch my vlog on Wednesday. But yeah, just being backed into in a place where you shouldn't be backed into is ridiculous. Okay. So I'm just checking to see the placement of these, just so that I know that they go correctly. And again, like I said, I'm having more luck with the hourglass blocks upside down or next to the feed dogs. So I'm going to do that. I'm not doing any web piecing where everything stays together. With these, I'm doing everything one row at a time. And that helps keep everything properly together. At least a little bit less of a chance for a mistake. And then this one is where my extra hourglass block goes. Because there are 2, 4, 6, 7 pieces in each row, according to the pattern. Patterns are just a suggestion. If you wanted to do more rows or more columns in each, blocks in each row, you're welcome to do that. I'm just following it by the pattern because that way I don't have to do the math to figure out how much I need for borders and binding and backing because that's already done in the pattern. And then once I have everything ready, I can sew all the pieces of the row together. So it goes hourglass green, hourglass blue, hourglass purple, hourglass. Good morning, Elaine, my neighbor who is having Wi-Fi issues, so she may vanish. If you lived, a tad closer, I would just say hop onto my Wi-Fi, but most people don't want to hop onto my Wi-Fi just because of my Wi-Fi's name. In fact, I named my phone when it turns on to Wi-Fi. I named it the same thing. And I was at the park a few years back playing Pokemon Go, and somebody saw it, and I saw them talking to somebody else, and I didn't realize that it was on. But I heard like weird whispers. And afterwards, I was like, oops, I had it on. And I was chatting for a few minutes. And I was like, yeah, I didn't mean to leave this on. And I posted it into the Pokemon Go chat. And they were like, oh, that was you? And I was like, what do you mean? They were like, we were talking about that. We saw it weird. We were trying to figure out whose Wi-Fi was named Hot Naked Amish Chicks. So, yeah. Jenna's asking, did I get my boss's quilt quilted? This is my boss's quilt. This is what I am making for her. So no, it's not quilted yet because it's still on this machine. Her last day is December 27, which, that's a Friday. So I'm not going to go into the office that day because that's just silliness. And we are scheduling something for like midweek the week before. And hopefully hopefully, well, it's not even hopefully. I know I will have this done by then, just because my goal is to have the field done today and the borders done either today or tomorrow, depending on what else is going on. I will place these two rows together, which is now a good fun area. And this row is upside down. I am doing all of this extra checking because it's a row by row thing. Okay, this looks better. And then just gonna piece these rows together. Steven has to run. I saw something, he has to pick something up from the store. Then he retracted his message because there was a typo, I think, in there, and he didn't want to be associated with the typo, which is fine. Hello, Colleen, who says hello, Russ, and everyone else. The quilt is coming along very well. Thank you, Colleen. Putting rows together is always an adventure. Mostly because trying to keep everything in perfect line is fun. If I was, smart, I would pen, but I don't have those smarticles. I could also clip, which I probably will do here. I'll butt everything up together, grab a clip, and say stay, and that'll help keep everything a little bit straighter. So, exciting news. I have this coming week off. I have a whole bunch of stuff I need to do, including paying my birthday fines, uh, which is just annoying. I have to go get my emissions done on my car, which I always forget every year until like a day or two before they're due. And yeah, it's horrible because here in Georgia our vehicle registration and everything is due on our birthday or by our birthday. And um house taxes just happen to be due like right by my birthday. So yeah, and then insurance is also due the same time because of how I of when I transferred over to being a Georgia vehicle and everything. So I have like everything due this month. I have everything budgeted, so it's not like I'm going to be poor at the end of. Well, I mean, I'm. If you took my bank account on October 1st and compared it to October 31st, I am poor, but uh, it doesn't impact. I'm not impacted because I have it budgeted, I have it saved, I have everything already, so I'm not I'm not concerned about them. uh, Nancy says, "Hi y'all. I don't know how or why, but it took this long to get the text box to come up YouTube. Oops." Jen is saying, "Living vicariously with my fabrics as she quilts a drab quilt on her DSM." I had to sit there and translate what DSM was, but I'm assuming it means domestic sewing machine. I will say I made a comment a minute ago that I was working on the long arm yesterday, and this is the first time that I didn't have any user error issues going from row to row. Because I've had times in the past where I advanced the quilt and it wants to quilt the previous row. I don't know what I did differently. I seriously do not know what I did differently to make it work happier, but I did something that I liked. Machines are just special little creatures. I did have a weird thread break and a weird tension issue that I don't know how it happened, but luckily it all was within the same area and I just had to rip out a handful of stitches. And because of the way it eyelashed, I didn't have to do a lot of effort to rip out those stitches. I just went underneath and just said and got all the stitches popped. Yay, I am correct in thinking that it was domestic sewing machine. In the world of Synology, which is a network hardware stuff, DSM is one of their products. So that's what popped in my head the first time when you said DSM. Okay, I got 2 rows together. Now for the next row. Looking at my pattern, my hourglasses are going up and down this time. And it's green, blue, purple, and red. Okay. So what exciting plans does everybody have this weekend? Anything exciting? Anything thrilling? I would say any roller coasters, but no. Here we go. Tomorrow, I am hosting the second Sewing Shenanigans. I need to get the reminder email out to everybody. If you're not on my mailing list, you can obviously send me an email to ask to be invited on the mailing list. But it's just a regular Zoom Sew Day. There is a link down in the description of this video. There is a link in the description of Wednesday's video. It's a Zoom link. It is not broadcast on the YouTubes. It is not um, saved anywhere. So it's just, a handful of us, and we're just sewing. I had 32 or 33 people, I think, last time, which was very exciting since that was my first. And we are doing it again tomorrow. It's from 8:30 to about 3:30, 4 o'clock or so, depending on how many people are still around at the end of the day. It'd be great if you want to join us. It's free. Like I said, it's just a Zoom link that is down below. And if you want reminders of any future ones, send me an email. I will put you on that list. And then I think Monday is when I'm going to go get my emissions did and a handful of other errands that I need to get done. Tuesday, I think I'm going to try to early vote because it is our responsibility to vote. You cannot be upset at the candidate who won if you did not vote. And the candidate that won was not the one you wanted. Now, if you do vote and your candidate doesn't win, then, you tried. You can still be kind of upset. And if the candidate that you wanted won and you didn't vote, then, you can't bask in the fact that you got your candidate in office. Yeah, that's it. The only political statements that you will hear from me are go out and vote. Not going to say who to vote for. Not going to say, anything else. I just want everybody to vote. Melissa's hoping that I enjoy my week off. I hopefully will. Colleen is working on Dorothy for an Oz quilt, then Toto. That is awesome. Is it the So Place Like Home one from Art East, or is it a different Oz quilt? Speaking of Oz, I am getting more and more and more and more excited. Wicked is coming to theaters in like a month and a half. Not even a month and a half. And I am getting more and more excited with every teaser and trailer and clip that they share. I think it's going to be an awesome show. I cannot wait to see it. And I got sticker shock yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it Thursday? Maybe it was Wednesday. When tickets started going on sale. Wednesday it was. I forgot to add on to this one. I'll add in a minute. I went to the theater website. It's AMC is the closest one. And just looked up the theater prices. And tickets are $16.50 each. And that was sticker shock because I think the last time I bought tickets to anything, which was probably Star Wars days. I honestly don't remember the last movie that I bought tickets for, but I thought they were $12. Like, I don't remember paying this much. Like I remember in college, I swear they were like eight, nine, maybe $9, 8.50, $9. I don't fully remember the number, but I remember that we can go to the info desk and get passes that were like $5 or 4.50 or something to save a few dollars. And that was how we did our weekends. Is we would end up deciding, okay, we want to go to the movies, run to the info desk, grab a couple passes, hop on the bus, get into Harvard, and then we had to get the red line to the theater. And, taking a couple trips that way was great. Or, it was summertime after I graduated and we didn't have air conditioning. We would go to the movies and, pay that. I'm just going to say $9 just so we could have a couple hours of air conditioning. Okay, I've got one more row to put together. And then we can start getting the entire quilt field together. This one is hourglasses are sideways. And it's blue, then purple, then pink. So needless to say, I still haven't purchased my tickets yet. My friend David is supposed to be coming into town for Thanksgiving. So I am honestly just waiting to confirm whether or not he has the days off to come visit. And then if he does, then we'll get our tickets. He also claims that he did not know that Wicked was coming out. And of course I was like, how did you not know? My sister's oldest daughter purchased tickets yesterday, today, whenever she bought them. And I guess they were like $15 more than she expected. But I guess they got moving seats in whatever theater that they're in. And I was like, does that mean it's the moving so that, when Elphaba's flying, your seat shifts and stuff like that, almost like a 3D movie? And that's what it sounds like it is. So I'm like, that's kind of cool. I wouldn't pay $15 extra for that, but guess who Nancy is says, I'm telling my age. I remember $2.50 could get popcorn, a box of candy, and a drink for two. $2.50, so $5 for fun. Yeah. I was talking with someone and they were like, I vaguely remember like dollar movies. And I'm like, yeah, those were so nice. We and that brought up a story when we were young. Mom got us some summer movie subscription or something like that. So it was like every Wednesday we had a different movie, and she would drop us off, and then she would pick us up afterwards. And bless her heart, we went to go see Popeye that summer with Robin Williams. And when the movie was over, we go outside and we're looking for Mom's car and we don't see it. And this gentleman comes up and says, hey, your mom told me to come pick you up. And I was like, I don't know who you are. Can you go tell her to come pick us up? That whole, stranger danger thing. And he goes, no, she sent me to pick you up. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. So we ended up having to go to a payphone, call her, and she said, yes, I sent him to come pick you up. And we're like, you told us never to get in the car with strangers. We don't know who he is. It took a little bit of convincing, but, you know, we never got kidnapped. And that gentleman became an awesome friend of the family afterwards and everything. But we were like, you told us not to talk to strangers and all this other stuff, and then you send a stranger to come pick us up. But yeah, I remember there was also, dollar movie day. We had a dollar theater here in Georgia. I think it still exists, but the movies are pretty old, and I've heard it's questionable as to whether or not you're going to have climate control inside. Honestly, I would prefer to, watch it at home because then I can pause it when I need to go to the bathroom. I'm not spending, $50 on popcorn. In fact, at the movie ticket sales, it said, you could add an additional $25 for two drinks and a popcorn. And I was like, that's a little ridiculous because you can get, you know, this for $1.60, or you can pay, $5 at the movie theater. Nancy says I was smart. Good morning, John from Guys Craft 2. I hope you're having a great day. I heard you were, watching on the TV, so you couldn't normally type, but sounds like you either got onto a typing device, which what I normally do is if I'm watching on the TV, I'll just pull up my phone and chat from the phone. Okay, purple dot. Okay. Melissa is asking if I was damage free from Helene. Amazingly enough, yes. We were on the west side of it, and I guess the west side is the least intense portion of the storm. The storm went further east than it initially anticipated. When I went to bed, it said that it was coming straight towards us. And then afterwards, when I woke up at 5 o'clock for no reason, I pulled up the weather and it was eastwards a little bit. So I knew that, we would just get a little bit of rain and wind. And when I say a little bit, I mean it's still a lot because it's a hurricane. And yeah, it was just rain and rain and rain and rain and rain. Because we had that other storm front that was coming through that kind of stalled over us, and it it just sat and sat and sat. So it had been drenching us for a couple days, and then Helene came through, pushed that out of the way, thankfully, and hold on a second, let me make sure I'm putting this correct. Da. Okay, this is correct. Um, so when I woke up, it was just rain and rain and rain, and I knew that Riley was awake, and she did not potty, and or anything the night before, so I knew she had to go. So I got out of bed and brought her outside. She did a quick, I'm going to go potty. I still don't approve that it's still raining, but I'm going to go. And I brought her back inside and went upstairs and still got the news back on. And then I was like, oh, the wind is kicking up. And about 6:45, we had some really big winds and big heavy rain, and that continued until about 8:15, maybe 8:30. And at about 9:30, the rain finally stopped. So it was a long time of rain. I think we had almost 3 full days of rain because it started Wednesday. And my neighbor across the street later texted me, said that his rain meter that he had in his backyard said we got 9.2 inches of rain from Wednesday at noon through the end of Helene, which is a lot of inches of rain. Nancy asked, how did I sleep? She was up watching. If I don't sleep, then I have like even worse problems. I mean, I have difficulty sleeping as it is, which is why I was probably up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I take melatonin in order to help me sleep. So that's how I slept. I think I sewed this one, or I'm sewing this one the opposite direction that I sewed the other, and that's why it felt weird at first. Nancy said they got 8 inches in Western Kentucky. That's a little much. Thankfully, between the two storms, anybody that I know directly has been fine. There's people that I know indirectly that had a bit of an issue, but you know, their lives were saved, so that's all that mattered. One of my friends, after Milton, he posted on Facebook that he's fine. They rode out the storm at home. Don't remember where home is. And he goes, and we know that our camper is safe because his neighbors at the campground rode out the storm at the campground and were posting videos in the morning after, and they saw their trailer at the campground, or the camper at the campground was fine. And I'm like, yeah, I would not want to ride out a storm in a campground. Hurricane Hugo back in, I think it was 89, where, you know, it was supposed to hit us at 8 in the morning and be, you know, outskirts. It changed its mind and he came right for us and in the middle of the night, and I slipped right through it because I didn't know that it was happening, with an aquarium over my head based on the way that the room was set up. Again, it was supposed to have been fine, so I didn't know that I shouldn't have gone to sleep with an underneath an aquarium. I was what, almost 12 at the time. So I didn't know better either. Only if the camper had wings. it's it's amazing what decides to get damaged, and I don't want to say it this way, but it's what ends up getting damaged and what doesn't in these storms, because there's just so much going on. And one neighborhood can be perfectly fine, the next neighborhood can be completely destroyed. With Hugo, we lost 2 sheds and a shade tree. And it almost looks like the tornado it started at one of the sheds. It was heading towards our trailer. We lived in a double wide at the time. And tangled with the shade tree, and then shifted and went back away and got the chicken coop. So we were extremely lucky in that fashion. Nancy says, I know one side of the road is fine and the other side of the road is gone. Yes. And this is what I hate about the news. They only show you the little bits that are gone, so you think everything is gone. Okay. I'm trying to get these lined up. And pop. Okay. It was kind of amusing, and only in a ha-ha because everybody was safe. The news that I was watching, because I don't have cable, they do have a couple news stations on Pluto TV that were doing live coverage. And the channel that I was watching, they were out in the middle of the road. It was right after the eye came through, so it was quiet for a second, and then the wind started picking up, and like I said, they were in the middle of the road, and the transformer behind them blew. And they were just like, okay, we're done. We're going inside into the parking deck. And they cut to another reporter as they were able to just run inside and get to the parking deck. Thankfully, they also did, because the water was rising from the storm surge very quickly, and it was getting to be a little dangerous for them. And I missed the FedEx guy. He literally just came. I don't know if it's a cute one or not, though. I'll have to look at the camera in a minute. I was hearing my phone go off like crazy. And I was like, I bet that's the FedEx guy. Oh well, it's more fun to be sewing anyway. I would only get to just, look and drool at him. Okay. If I can get this seam on, then I can sew it to the rest of the quilt. And I'm missing one row. That very first row that I had put together a few weeks ago, I misplaced it. It's here. It's hiding. So I will put it together. I just don't have it quite here. But once I get that row on after I do this, then I can put it together. Put the borders on. And then I got to remember what I was doing for the back. I think I remember what the back is, but I don't fully remember. I have this things with backings where I will decide one backing and then afterwards be like, this other backing would be a little bit better. I have also done the same thing where it's like, okay, I want this backing when I'm purchasing the kit and everything, and then change my mind to this backing while I'm working on it, and then change my mind to a third when it's done. But I think I have a 108 purchased for this. I do know that because we took pictures of the team in front of a famous sign on campus where we work, I ended up getting getting a couple of them printed on fabric to put as a label. That way, I'm not just writing a label up or trying to come up with something for a label. I can just say, it's from us. Mostly me, but I'm going to give the rest of the team a little bit of a credit just so she says she can remember all of us. And that fabric is supposed to be arriving today. But that's coming through the mail, not through FedEx. My FedEx package is one of those Advent boxes that people have started getting, and I will be opening for Vlogmas. And before anybody asks, no, I do not have jokes this year for Vlogmas. I have something different. That'll be just as much fun, if not less fun. I mean, more fun. I got the idea for this thing about halfway through Vlogmas last year. But I was like, I'm not going to switch from A to B in the middle of Vlogmas. So this year, Vlogmas episodes are going to open with this little different thing that people are going to be like, I either love or hate. Melissa says she loves my fabric choices. She has grunge for rock candy. I thought about grunge at first, and then I saw these color tone-on-tone prints, which I have already forgotten what they are. And then um, I purchased the color one, the rainbow colored ones. Oh yeah, this happened too in my indecision. And I had white grunge and or paper white grunge and onyx grunge for the hourglass blocks. And then I went to the shop for something else, and that's when I saw this the the black here and the white, and I was like, this is going to be so much more fun because I was honestly feeling that my boss wouldn't have liked the grunge. She is not a like she would not like something that was totally grunge, and I don't know if she would have liked the partial grunge. She said that like years ago she went to go see Rent, and she had no idea what it was, and she was like, I wasn't thrilled with the story, but I really did not like the music. And I'm like, okay, that happens. So I don't know if she would like the texture of grunge. Okay. I almost feel like I should pause this putting together for the last row to be on. So it's 4 and 4 going together, but and then not have to worry about the one. But I figure a 7 and 1 is just as bad as a 4 and 4. So this week, what is going on? Tomorrow, as I said, is Sewing Shenanigans. It's a Zoom, so it's not pushed anywhere. Everybody's welcome to join if you want. Like I said, we're starting at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock. Um, Monday for me is just catching up on stuff. Yeah, as I said, I've got my full list of things to do and so I got plans every day this week on what I'm going to be working on. And then, like Tuesday, I have a haircut and my eyebrow appointment and a facial. Because again, I always treat myself for a facial every year. And my chiropractor office, when I was there last week, they said that they had appointments for their massages for a great discount. It was like $15 off of their normal price, which is a good price. So I have one scheduled for Wednesday, and then after that, I'm going to be joining the Zoom of Sewing with Stephanie and Steven. So there'll be that. And then next Friday evening, and then Saturday is going to be Steven's retreat stuff. Friday evening is the mixer icebreaker, and Saturday is the retreat itself. It's also Saturday sampler day, so I'm like, I'm not gonna make it until probably 10 o'clock. Maybe I can make it at 9:30 if I get up and go to the earlier Saturday sampler session, but I make no guarantees about me getting up early. So there will not be a Elevenses live next week because of that. If I have time, I might pre-record a little something just so that, if you need a fix, you can get it. Heck, I may go live on Sunday if I have a chance. I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening and what I'm working on. If I go live on Sunday, it'll be a little bit earlier. probably at 10. And then after that, it's going to be back to the grind with being back in the office. I have no idea how I'm going to be okay with going back to the office after being off for a week. And my boss has been counting down the days until her retirement. She has one of those apps on her phone, like when people count down to a cruise or something. Then she decided on Thursday that she wasn't thrilled with the number. She wanted to know how many working days it was. And I was like, I don't know yet. So I Googled how many working days until her last day. I got 3 different answers. And it's mostly because different sites will count different days as working days or not working days. So finally, other coworker, he pulled it up into Excel and said, okay, because I guess he's got a formula that he uses and a worksheet that has all of the company holidays. So he's able to do a quick math of, and I say quick, I found 4 different answers before he got the correct answer of how many days it is. And it was 50 something. So she's got like 50 something working days into, well, work days. And she's not working all of those because like in 2 weeks they're going out to South Carolina to close on their retirement house. They found an awesome house and I'm excited for them. Except, you know, the things that her husband is now saying. Her husband is an interesting character, I'm learning. Few more inches and this quilt top center is practically done. And let's switch camera angles. And I know this isn't pressed. I can take a few minutes and iron it later. Definitely before I put my borders on. And it's missing the top row because that's hiding somewhere. Oh, it's upside down. There we go. I think this is going to be gorgeous. I will have to get better pictures of it later. you know, after I get the top row on and after I get the borders on, I have to remember what I'm doing for borders. I know that I'm using one of these two for a border. I don't remember, and the other one is binding. I don't remember which one's which. I got to look at the measurements to see which one it is. But that is going to do it for today, and I'm only a couple minutes over. I try to keep them at an hour ish, just because it's a lot of work just to talk for an hour. So, again, hope everybody has an awesome rest of your day. No live next Saturday. There may be one on Sunday, maybe one on Friday. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do instead. But as soon as I know, I will let everybody know by putting up a card. On Wednesday, expect my weekly vlog. It will be vlog number 100, which is very exciting. There's not going to be any spoilers in there, though. And anybody who joins on Sewing with Stephanie and Steven on Wednesday will understand what the spoiler is. And I will see everybody hopefully tomorrow with Sewing Shenanigans. Toodles!